Today, I am going to teach you how to mix raw vocals from scratch. We are going to do this in real time together, me and you. If you're liking the vibe, like and subscribe. Let's get into the video. So here we have an R&B song. There's no processing. These are all the vocals right here. This is male lead. This is a female lead right here. You can open up these folders. There's some tuning, but that has been committed. These are effects that have already been created, so we're just going to work with that, but effects are muted now. I'm going to use the male vocal for this example, so I will just play that really quickly. I'll play a few bars.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait.
Now I know the first thing y'all are gonna say, well, my vocal recordings don't sound as good. Okay, record better. Okay, so the first thing you want to do before you start EQing your vocals is obviously get your overall level of your vocals right within the context of the music. In this case, we have this 2-track beat right here, and we're going to just make sure our overall level is right. Now I've already done that, but that's the first step.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight.
Now, to me, I could turn these down just a hair, so I'm gonna just use clip gain.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm on my way, girl.
I like that right now for a starting point. We're not gonna overthink it. We just getting started. It's general, okay? The second thing you want to do is automation. Don't get mad. You need to automate your vocals first, because if different words are at different levels, it's going to confuse you. And I don't mean make the vocal flat and linear and put every word at the same volume. What I'm saying by automation is automate the emotion, automate the feeling and the energy into the record. There are things that are popping out in a distracting way. Oftentimes that's just level. And a lot of times people go to dynamic EQ or they go to pulling out certain resonances, but their ear is confusing them because the vocal level is so inconsistent that when a word gets loud, you think it's harsh when it's just too loud. So level problems will trick you into thinking that it's an EQ problem when it's really just a level problem. I have already done this ahead of time. If we enlarge these vocals, you can see that I've gone through and clicked this in with a mouse. Now I do it with the fader since I have faders. You can see how I may have to use a compressor in order to get these words loud, and that's going to also affect the EQ of the vocal. But there are other situations where right here, I may think, oh, I need to use some dynamic EQ because this word right here gets harsh or whatever, or maybe I need to compress it even more, or I don't know, whatever you think when you hear stuff. But all I need to do is just turn that down, okay? It just pops out a little bit and it's just a little loud. Turn it down, that's it. That's the first step. A vocal is such a dynamic thing, so the best approach is to use automation to get the feeling and the emotion of the performance right first before doing anything, or go through and clip gain it. A lot of people use clip gain and they'll go through and clip gain up and down certain parts for the same reason. Now the second thing I do is when I mix vocals, it's difficult for me to mix them without a relationship to anything. And for me, the drums are perfect because I'm not too distracted by the music. The drums are coming and going, and I can get an overall relationship of the lead vocal to the drums and how that sits in the mix. The drums kind of act as my frame of the mix. So in this case, we have a 2-track beat, so we need to make some stems. And I'm telling you, if you just mix your vocals with only the drums, it is going to allow you to really let the drums and the music work together, and they sit in a pocket together. You can really start building upon the interworkings of how everything in the song works together. We're going to go to our trusty friend Isotope RX and Music Rebalance, and we're just going to export the drums. We're not going to worry about anything else. All right, we got our drums, so let's loop this part.
If it's alright, girl,
so when I was talking about the frame, the drums help me identify where the top and the bottom of the mix is, and oftentimes the music helps me identify where the width of the mix is. But I also can find the frequency pocket of where the vocal fits with the kick and the snare. So it's not only just that level thing, it's a frequency thing as well. So that's why it's perfect for me to EQ vocals in this situation. Now, before we start mixing the vocals, we need to have an idea. We need to think about, what do I want the vocals to sound like? What do they sound like now? And where do I want them to go? What do I want them to become? So let's listen.
If it's alright.
All right, all I need to hear. I want them to be smooth. I want them to be emotional, compelling, endearing, right? So I'm gonna think about those things while I am EQing the vocals. Now, I love using this 3-band EQ. This is one of my favorite EQs because it really puts me in a tone mindset. I got 3 bands of high, mid, and low EQ. High, mids, lows. Stop overthinking it. People have been EQing this way for many, many years. The Neve is a 3-band EQ, and so many amazing sounding records were mixed on that console. Don't doubt the power of a 3-band EQ. So what we're going to do, as I listen, I'm going to figure out what I'm hearing and what I need to do so that I can get the feeling and emotion out of this vocal that I want.
If it's alright.
So all of a sudden I'm hearing a lot of this area right here, and so I'm going to just turn that down. That's it.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm on my way. Girl, take your time. Let me know when you're home, man.
Beautiful. Now it's a little bit too much bass, so I'm going to turn the bass down a little bit.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm on my way. Girl, take your time. Let me know when you're home and you're comfortable. If it's
Got a little throw, we'll mute those. So cool, that's a nice vibe. Now I was gonna use the SSL to bring the gain back up, but I had the vocals a little too loud in comparison to these drums.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide.
Still a little bit of this area right here.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm on my way. Girl, take your time. Let me know when you're home and you're comfortable. If it's alright.
So I'm also getting that nasally tone out too by moving this over just a little bit. So I'm getting the nasaliness and that low mid buildup, but I'm still keeping the body and the warmth. I'm finding where it feels just right.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight.
Now we're good to go. Now what I normally would do is bring up a FabFilter Pro Q and high pass it now.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm on my way. Girl, take your time. Let me.
And as I'm listening to the drums, the vocals, and how that all sits and fits in together level-wise, but also EQ-wise. Like, what I mean by relationship is if you study music, listen to how frequencies are kind of divided per instrument, and certain instruments speak in certain frequency ranges. And the drums help me start slotting those frequency ranges just audibly. Listen to the position of the lead vocal and how it's sitting with the kick and the snare, level-wise and EQ-wise, and just how it's slotted right in there.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm on.
There's so much feeling, right? It's just in the right sweet spot, right? EQ is such a great tool to help you with your balance. All of this is just about balancing. I'm balancing the tone of the vocal so it sounds more emotional, but I'm also balancing my volume. If I needed to make up any gain or adjust that, I would just do it right here on the SSL because this plugin does not have a gain knob, which I would like for this plugin to have, but it doesn't have one. So when I'm thinking of the tone of a lead vocal, it's starting off with literally this high, mid, low. I'm thinking, where is the presence in the vocal? Where's the nice beautiful mid-range of that vocal? You also see while I'm EQing, I'm closing my eyes and I'm feeling it. I'm not looking at it, I'm listening to the music, and I'm listening to how I can get the tonal balance to where the highs feel pleasing but not harsh and they feel smooth, and the mids feel nicely represented because that's a super important and emotional part of a vocal's frequency range, and where the low mids and the mids feel like they give me warmth and body and character, texture, all of that, but it's not annoying annoying. It's not distracting. When I'm mixing anything, I want to try to turn down distracting frequency ranges in that sound. I love using this EQ because it's extremely limiting and it doesn't allow me to get in the weeds and really tweak like I would with a Pro Q. It keeps me focused on the big picture and the tone, which is super important. That's the most important part. As y'all see, this sounds pretty good. I could literally stop here. And a lot of records have been mixed this way and we love them. Now also, while I'm EQing, depending on the vocal, I ignore the sibilants, the S's, the T's, the P's, all of that crazy stuff. I come back to that later and I listen to the tone of the vocal instead of the sibilants, because a lot of times when people are trying to get bright and super present vocals, they're listening to the sibilants and that's where the mid-range starts popping out and becoming very harsh. All you have to do is just turn the S's up or down to help get that impression of brightness and clarity and diction. You just turn those things up and down, but you want to get the tone right first. That's really where you can get it airy, by listening to the tone of the vocal instead of the sibilants. If it's a really serious issue with the sibilants, then I'll go in and clip gain all of the S's down if it's distracting me way too much. Now, you see that I'm not going up here and boosting top end and boosting presence. What I'm doing is I'm listening to the frequencies that are distracting me from the presence, that's distracting me from the top end, and I'm turning down those things until the presence and the top end just reveals itself to me. I'm not saying I don't boost, but I just start with subtractive EQ. And then in order to get the presence, I call volume the presence knob. So if I want more presence, I just turn the vocal up. And if I want less of something that is coming out as I turn the vocal up, I just turn that down with EQ. That's my approach, but I do boost with EQ. Don't get me wrong. When I'm first starting out, I think with a subtractive approach. Now that we've shifted and balanced our tone in a pleasing way, before I really get detailed and start boosting things or figuring out how to really make this super smooth and whatever, I need to start bringing in effects, because as soon as I bring in an effect, the whole picture changes. I have these effects already here, so we're just gonna bring them in one by one.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm on my way, girl, take your time. Let me know when you're home and you're comfortable. If it's alright.
Now let's listen to the vocal with and without the effects, and listen to how the EQ changes, the positioning changes, how the whole lay of the land changes.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm on my way, girl, take your time.
Right? Things have changed. Like the low end and the low mids of this vocal is completely clouded. It's not as direct anymore, of course, right? Because we got these effects. So now we come back to our EQ and we can get a little more detail now. So let's listen to what's going on.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm on my way, girl, take your time. Let me know when you're home and you're comfortable. If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide.
Now I want to get a little more detailed. I hear a little low mid frequency. I want to drop down a little bit.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm on my way, girl, take your time. Let me know when you're home and you're comfortable. If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm on my way, girl, take your time. Let me know when you're home and you're comfortable. If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm on my way, girl, take your time. Let me know when you're home and you're comfortable. If it's alright, Girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm on my way. Girl, take your time. Let me know when you're home and you're comfortable.
Now there we go. We're feeling good. So as you can see, I can't fully commit to any EQ settings until all the elements of the mix are in, but definitely not without the effects, because adding effects changes everything. The effects can EQ your vocal. If I A-B this right here, the vocal gets a little bit brighter with this reverb in.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm on my...
You see how I bring that reverb in and it gets a little bit brighter. So if I dialed in my brightness perfectly and then I add this reverb in, now it's too bright. And I'm trying to figure out what the issue is. I got a little too quick with trying to get everything perfect on my EQ too early. Now we're going to bring the instrumental back because we're still not done. Again, you have to finalize the EQ with everything going. So let's see what it sounds like with the beat now.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide.
Now, in comparison to that bass, I'm feeling like this vocal is getting swallowed too much and the vocal doesn't have enough power to compete with the placement of the bass. So we're going to address that.
If it's alright,
because it could partially be a little bit of a level thing. So let's try some volume first.
if it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight.
It was just level. It was just level. I don't know if y'all felt that or not. There was just a certain volume that just connected with me emotionally. That's what I'm looking for when I'm mixing. I admit there's a certain phase in the mix where I say, okay, does this sound good though? Is this quality? But the majority of the time, I'm just like, is this touching my soul? How am I feeling? Like there was a moment. Now I'm emotionally attached. Now here at this point, after I've EQ'd my vocal, maybe I'll do some compression, some parallel, whatever. But this is the basics. This is how you EQ a vocal. Then I'll come in with the Pro Q or whatever if I need to do anything dynamic, or if there's any problems, or if I need to babysit some low mids that's louder and lower at certain points because I've gotten my volume right, but this is actually a low mid issue and it's happening a lot throughout the vocal performance. So then I may use a Pro Q for that. If it's really bad, then I'll bring up Ozone Spectral Shaper. If it's really bad in the top end, kind of more of a transparent attenuation of those nasty frequencies up there. And generally for me, that solves all of my vocal issues. If I have some really bad sibilants, I've done this in this song with volume automation. I've gone through and done my sibilants stuff. Like as you can see, this right here, some sibilants, I've turned that down. I've gone through and done that. But if it gets really bad, then I will do that with volume automation or clip gain. And then I will also go in and chop up sibilants like this and bring up clip effects, try to EQ it a little bit and like find where maybe it's like a weird whistle or something in S's sometimes. And if you bring the volume down too much, it sounds like they have a lisp, but that whistle is extremely annoying. Then I'll try to find it and just bring that down. As you can see, this is not all about, oh, the low mids live in this range and the presence in it. Stop all of that nonsense. High, mid, low, okay? Almost every vocal I mix, I use this EQ on because it makes me focus on what's important. This is how powerful the fundamentals are of EQing and volume. That's all we've done. If I bypass this vocal chain and we hear the difference with just some basic stuff.
If it's alright, girl, I'm gon' slide, 'cause I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm on my way. Girl, take your time. Let me know when you're home and you're comfortable.
Now, if you want to get a little more detailed and kind of make it feel a little more round, you could come over here and maybe roll off some top end. You could maybe do a little shelf on the top. You can do all of that too. Maybe it's a little too airy, a little too breathy. You want a little warmer tone. You can do all of that. But generally, it's how you do it.